All across America, we're seeing unprecedented levels of anxiety. I mean, people traditionally, anxiety and depression, are what we call comorbid. That means you see similar prevalence rates. But right now, the incidence of anxiety is nothing that we've ever seen before. And this started before the pandemic. And there are three things that are causing people to be anxious. Three categories of things. It's chronic stress, it's isolation, and it's improper consumption. And I want to take a little time and break down each of those, right? So when we look at chronic stress, and there are several categories of things that are contributing factors to the chronic stress, but the overarching category is money. And when you break down money, you peel that onion a little, one more layer, what you see is either, it's two sides of the coin, right? Either you hate your job, to which I would say, let's get you into another job, but either you hate your job or you love your job and you're working so much so that it's causing problems with other relationships, right? We're overworking. When I was coming up, you had a saying, Bob's drinking the company colors. And so for what they're talking about is Bob's always there. As a young leader, I thought that I was demonstrating great leadership if I was the first in the office and I was the last to leave. And while that's novel, was I robbing other people of their opportunity to shine? Was I, properly managing my time? Probably not. As a matter of fact, I can emphatically say I was not, right? But that's what we do. We were drinking the company colors. It was less about money. It's just I was passionate about what I love to do. When you're passionate about what you love to do, there's nothing wrong with that. But there is this thing called margin. There is this thing called balance. And I was skewed with that. Well, so much so that it impacted the relationships with my kids. It impacted the relationships with my gym partners. I played racquetball, shoot basketball, whatever it was. I wasn't available because, man, I was cranking out one more email, or I was working on a project, or I was, working overnight, just really bleeding the company colors, my company colors. And that it robbed me of some key moments with people that I love dearly. And you can't get that back, right? And that dynamic, causes stress. If you hate your job, you hate getting up in the morning. Every day is Monday. Like, how many times can you hit the snooze button? We have people living in spaces like that, and that's mostly because of lifestyles. The pay is good. I've had friends who went through med school. They became doctors. They did all that training, accumulated all that debt. And at some point in time, they hated being a doctor. I've had friends that transitioned from the medical world to nonprofit care. They do mission work. They're going overseas, and they really, they found a better way to channel that energy where they wanted to help people. Right. But if you were just stuck doing something that you didn't want to do, that's called misery. And that creates stress. Now, the second thing that we see that's causing these egregious anxiety levels all across the country is isolation. And again, that started before the pandemic. What I attribute it to, the data suggests this. It's not a lot of definitive research that's going to point this out. But what I believe is the cause of that are smartphones. We are so addicted to the colors and the streaming and the liking and subscribing and all of that stuff. And we're over consuming that platform, that technology, such to the point that we're so myopic with a screen that we're not interacting with other people. And then you hit the whole world with the pandemic, and now we have to be isolated. Well, the problem with isolation is that it has the same negative effect on the human body as if that individual smoked 15 cigarettes a day. Now let that sink in. Most people don't smoke 15 cigarettes a day. We know the harmful effects of cigarettes, but consuming anything that's going to isolate you from people is so dangerous to the body. It's as if you were smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Now let's think about this. We wake up in the morning. before you brush your teeth, chances are you're going to get your iPhone. You're going to see who said what. Facebook, Instagram, whatever the platform, whether it's a game, you're on that screen and you're not connected with people. I'll tell you a funny story. So my wife and I, we still try to, we've been together 26 years. We still try to have date night, right? And date night's amazing. You want to put your bed, get your hair cut, nice outfit, smell good, all that stuff. She getting her hair laid and all of that. And that's cool, right? So we go to this nice restaurant and having a great time, laughing, connecting. Phones have to be on, either in the car or just on silent, turned down. We're trying to keep eye contact, right? Hey, you see this over here? We looked at this couple. They sat down a little bit after we did. And from the time they sat down, the only time they broke eye contact with the phone, not each other, the phone, was when the waitress came up. And then went right back to the phone. And occasionally, now here we are, we're supposed to be enjoying each other. He was kind of ear hustling and eye hustling what these folks were doing. But the reality of it is this is happening everywhere. As you've been in restaurants, you've seen this scenario that occasionally they're so connected to this phone that they'll come up and they'll tell a joke and then they're right back to it. Well, that's happening in every environment. And I want to talk about that and we're going to cover that a little later, but that's the second thing that's happening across the country. Isolation. People are isolated. We haven't gotten back to the communal things that we did, with the pandemic. Churches still have low attendance. Football games have low attendance, and it's not just the paranoia because of the pandemic and so forth. It's just the fact that I believe people are stuck in a cycle. They're looped into that phone. That's become a security blanket, if you will. And the third thing, and I think it's the most destructive of what's causing the increases in anxiety across the country. Every community we go into, we see this, and that's improper consumption. Now, we just talked about one of the improper consumptions with that cell phone, right? That's not healthy. Put limits on it, right? But what are we eating, right? Fast food it's a thing. I'm not going to say it's good or bad. It's a thing, right? You have the choice to consume it. But the reality of it is it's not the same quality of food as the food that you prepare that we had, 3 decades ago, right? And not to get into the argument of the preservatives and GMOs and such and so forth. But the reality of it is we're not eating the same food that we ate years ago. And that has an impact on the body. Sugar is in everything. Sugar is in bacon. Sugar is in bread. It's in the things that we buy to cook the food that we use. And that is, harmful to the body. Extremely dangerous to the body. Alcohol, drugs, illicit drugs. We're in a society where people have choices. They have options, and people are consuming things that they shouldn't. Second, improper consumption is we don't have proper sleep hygiene. We're staying up later than we should. The challenge with being on a smartphone before you go to bed is that blue light's going to trigger adrenaline. You're not going to sleep. And a lot of times you're not hitting REM sleep, right? You don't hit REM sleep. Guess what? You're going to wake up cranky. You wake up cranky and you do this. There's not enough coffee on the planet that's going to allow your body to rest. And so what you see is it affects people's environment. Their personal environment, their work environment, the relationship they have, and they're anxious because the body isn't given an opportunity to do the thing that it's supposed to do when we rest, and that's heal. That's to reset, hit the reset button. A lot of times at the clinic, someone has to go inpatient, right? Rare, but when they do have to go inpatient, one of the first things that happens is they get rest. The body has to reset. Now, when I was in my younger years, in my glory years, and I was in the Army, part of the training as an officer, we did sleep deprivation. And, you stay up 3 days in a row, you're going to question what your name is. And so, and I'm not suggesting that we're doing it, in the civilian sector, but the reality of it is the more we are robbing ourselves of proper rest, allowing that brain to reset, taking in some of the things that slow us down a bit, then we're already ticked up. And that's challenging. I mean, how many people are on performance improvement plans? How many people are misdiagnosed because they just have improper ADLs? ADLs are activities of daily living. Sleep is one of those. Food consumption is one of those, right? Are we properly managing ourselves? And so I want to stop here, right? I don't want to beat a dead horse. I don't want to just glorify what we see across the country. Right now, I want to look dead at you, and I want you to hear me. Listen closely. If you or somebody you love is isolated, if you're not connected with the people that you love, if you're always running on 12 when you should be on 5, I want you to take a look at yourself and know that there is a way out of that, right? At Post Trauma Institute, at PTI, we specialize in helping people reclaim a meaningful lifestyle. We pride ourselves on giving them and equipping the people that come to us with the tools that they need to be successful. Whether that's learning how to manage your time at work, or having the confidence, getting in an environment where you're confident to get into the right job, or getting healthy social dynamics where you can actually engage with people again. For whatever reason that's stopping you, we can get you back to engaging with people again, or just educating you on proper consumption, these ADLs that we just talked about. If that resonates with you, I want you to click the link below, right? Or scan the QR code that's going to pop up when I get done talking, and just give us a talk. And if we're not the vehicle for you, go and talk with someone, because the reality of it is, when we're not at our best, we're robbing our friends, our family, our loved ones, our employees, our coworkers. We're robbing them of our contributions, and we're here to go and make the world better. The world is better with your input. The world is better with your perspective. Your team is better with your contributions. And so let's do that in a way that's going to give you the opportunity to be the best version of yourself. So look, if you like content like this, I'm asking that you like and subscribe. We're growing a community of people that are serious about owning and empowering ourselves so that we're free from the things that are taking life away from us. So thank you. This is Dr. Lawrence. I look forward to talking with you next time. All right.